Techniques to double your reading speed. Perhaps this is the section you've been waiting for. Here you will discover some of the most important techniques you can use to increase your reading speed. That means if the average adult's reading pace is 200 to 250 words per minute, then after applying these techniques you can increase to 400 500 words per minute minimum. Subvocalization and meta-guiding, be sure to give these techniques special attention, as they will be responsible for 80% of your reading improvement. Right now, let's dive in. Before you even start reading, improve your physical and mental conditions. To get your mind in peak reading condition, you need to treat your body and mind well. Here are the two best ways to make sure your body is ready. 1. Make sure you are feeling energized, eat right and exercise. Don't try to read when you know you are tired. 2. Sit up straight. Your posture impacts your mind. Remember that you lie down to sleep, not to read. Sitting up in a chair, on a couch, or at a desk is the best position. Some people even stand and slowly pace. Apply it now. How are you reading this text? If you have a computer, chances are that you are sitting at a desk, but are you sitting up straight or bending forward? However, while you're reading, take a moment and adjust yourself. Get into a better posture. Maybe you need to go to another room or to an entirely different location. How about putting off the reading until your mind is more alert? Pick a suitable and non-distracting reading environment. Your chosen reading location can mean the difference between quickly absorbing your material and lagging behind. Before you read, be sure to limit the number of distractions. Select a location that is prone to few noises and visuals, and make sure you remove any personal objects that might get in your way. It will also help to keep in mind that you wish to double your average reading pace. This will keep you motivated toward finding the ideal reading environment. Apply it now. Where are you sitting right now? What's going on around you? Are there devices you can turn off? Are there any visual or audible distractions? How are the temperature and comfort levels? Bear in mind that different people are distracted by different things. Some people can read very well in Starbucks, whereas others would find that distracting and they like quiet environment. Which setting suits you best? While you're reading, the following speed reading tips are specifically related to the habits of your eyes and mind while you read. Pay careful attention to the following recommendations and make sure you take action on the Apply It Now sections for immediate practice. Very important, read phrases instead of words. Subvocalization means that you are thinking about and internally pronouncing every word on the page. But this next technique will amazingly shrink the amount of time and attention you dedicate to each word. Get ready to think about reading in two almost shocking new ways. You don't need to think about sounds of words. You don't need to read every word. These two ideas may seem to radically disagree with everything you've learned about reading, but if you can embrace these revolutionary ways of approaching texts, you will increase your speed exponentially. You don't need to think about the sounds of words. We discussed how thinking about the sounds of words helps us to understand their meaning, subvocalization. And then we looked at how sounds, through both reading out loud and subvocalization, can slow down your reading speed. So how do you avoid thinking in terms of sounds if sound is central to the concept of how words work? The answer, you skip straight from the letters to the meaning. Basically, you need to trust our mind to quickly construct meaning. So, written word tree symbolizes sound, TREE, symbolizes concept. So, you skip straight from written word to the concept. We touched on this concept earlier. Once you know how your mind processes reading, you can cut out the unnecessary steps. Don't focus on the sounds that words make, you simply don't have to. Your mind is fast enough that it can easily take familiar written words and immediately connect them to meaning. If you're focusing on the sounds of words, you don't quite trust your mind enough to do what it's made to do. Real speed readers, individuals who have more than double their speed, know that a simple momentary glance is all that's needed to derive meaning from written letters. Achieving this level of comfort with words is slightly difficult, but only slightly. The key is to practice reading at a pace where you simply cannot pronounce words or think about their sounds. When you read at an increased pace, you will be training your mind to quickly and accurately construct meaning. This implies, of course, that you've broken a number of those bad habits that slow you down. Basically, if you practice speed reading, that means you're getting your mind to think very quickly about what it sees. The faster you're reading, the more quickly you're making your mind work. So think less about sounds and more about meaning and about speed. You don't need to read every word. If you are like most people, then you probably try to make sure that your eyes capture every single word. But this only slows you down because you don't actually need to read every word. Have you ever had someone mumble something to you and you only caught a few words? Chances are that you were still able to understand that person. But how did you do it? Your ears heard only a few important words of their message, watch for sharp, but your mind was able to unconsciously fill in the blanks with watch out for the cat's sharp claws. Just like you don't need to hear every single word, you don't need to read every single word. If you think about it, each sentence usually has only a few important words, the rest is just filler. How many relatively meaningless connecting words like the, is, and, of, with, and so on are in each sentence? Many. When you pick up your reading speed, you will start trusting your mind to automatically absorb these filler words so that your attention will only be consumed by those few important ones in each sentence. It's also important to remember that when you're listening to conversation or reading text, you're often aware of the context surrounding the words. You know, for example, that you're about to read a newspaper article about the economy. Without this context, it would be more difficult to ignore the connecting words. This means that you don't want to think about the passages word by word, you want to think about them phrase by phrase. We will define a phrase simply as a small group of words between 3 and 10 words long. Look at this sample sentence. I went to the store and bought eggs, but I forgot to get the bread I needed. If you try to read every single word, then you are reading 17 individual words. But if you trust your mind to fill in the gaps and make meaning out of phrases, then you might read only these 4 phrases. I went to the store and bought eggs, but I forgot to get the bread I needed. By breaking this sentence into 4 phrases, your mind will be able to absorb the information much more quickly and deal with only 4 concepts instead of 17. And your eyes will also be able to gaze from left to right much faster since they will be prone to pausing less. Some refer to this as visual spat enlargement, since you are enlarging the area that your eyes see at one time from one word to a set of words. Again, to do this successfully requires practice. The more time you spend reading at an increased pace and try to absorb more than one word at a time, the more your mind will adapt to this style. Once this technique becomes routine, it's easy to imagine how your reading speed can be more than double. Apply it now. Read the passage in the resources section of this lecture at least twice. The first time, try to pay attention to your physical muscles, lips, mouth, tongue. They should not be moving at all. You might be surprised at your body's habits while you read, though. The second time, pay attention to what your mind is doing while you read. Are you trying to pronounce each word in your head? Try to let your eyes flow quickly and naturally over the sentences so that your mind is forced to grasp the immediate meaning of words, not the sounds. You may need to read the passage multiple times in order to practice both techniques above. Locate the most important sections of text. Not all parts of a story or passage are created equally. Very good, very fast readers know that certain sections within text have the most important information, while other sections have less important information. Naturally, they pay more attention to those sections that contain the most important information. So where are these important sections? Most of the time, authors put what you need to know in specific locations. Here are the prime locations for your eyes and your attention. Titles, headings, the first sentence in a paragraph, the last sentence in a paragraph, the first paragraph in a passage, the last paragraph in a passage. Sentences with bolded, underlined, or italic words, picture captions. You can dramatically increase the volume of reading you do in a given time by making sure that the bulk of your attention is given to the above listed elements. When you do, you're giving yourself two advantages. First, you're getting the main ideas of the passage and therefore making it clear to yourself what the point of the passage is. And second, you're allowing yourself to go even faster through sections that are not part of these prime information areas. It takes a trained eye and mind to really get the right ideas the first time. Just like experienced speed readers know they can pay attention to some words more than others at the same time. Experienced speed readers know that they can pay attention to some sections more than others. Apply it now. Remember that you don't have to read every word, you just have to read the important ones. Getting your eyes to automatically read the appropriate information can become automatic, but only with the right practice. Metaguiding, important. All you need to do is use your finger, a pointer like a pencil or a pen, or an index card to trace in front of your line of vision as you read. This serves as a motion guide and will help your eyes maintain their speed and fluency and reduce the erratic or aggressive eye movements that slow you down. Apply it now. Try reading the passage with two different tools. Tool 1, grab a pen or pencil and place it just to the right of the first word. Then move the pen across the line at a speed with which your eyes can just keep up. Do this line by line until the end. This gets your eye to follow the pen, keeping your eyes steady and sort of pulling them along at an increased pace. Tool 2, when you read the passage a second time, grab an index card or sheet of paper, place the card or paper underneath the line that you're reading. This will help keep your eyes steady and restrict them from getting distracted. Another way to use an index card is to place the card over what you've already read. As you progress down a page, the card will cover more and more of the text. This will restrict you from going back. Prepare to use these techniques to double your reading speed. The best way to approach these strategies is exactly the same as the way you should approach your bad reading habits, one at a time and with a lot of practice. It's amazing how dramatically these techniques can improve your reading speed. The more you get your eyes and mind to faster and faster reading speeds, the more you will find yourself faster reader through text that used to take you days to get through. Important. Be sure to pay particular attention to read phrases instead of words, stopping subvocalization and reading blocks of words, and metaguiding. These techniques in particular will be responsible for 80% of your speed reading improvement. Go read them again if you haven't fully grasped the principles. They're both incredibly important and potent techniques. If you have any question, please ask me in the Q&A section. I will answer you immediately. Techniques to double your reading speed. Perhaps this is the section you've been waiting for. Here you will discover some of the most important techniques you can use to increase your reading speed. That means if the average adult's reading pace is 200 to 250 words per minute, then after applying these techniques you can increase to 400 500 words per minute minimum. Subvocalization and meta-guiding, be sure to give these techniques special attention, as they will be responsible for 80% of your reading improvement. Right now, let's dive in. Before you even start reading, improve your physical and mental conditions. To get your mind in peak reading condition, you need to treat your body and mind well. Here are the two best ways to make sure your body is ready. 1. Make sure you are feeling energized, eat right and exercise. Don't try to read when you know you are tired. 2. Sit up straight. Your posture impacts your mind. Remember that you lie down to sleep, not to read. Sitting up in a chair, on a couch, or at a desk is the best position. Some people even stand and slowly pace. Apply it now. How are you reading this text? If you have a computer, chances are that you are sitting at a desk, but are you sitting up straight or bending forward? However, while you're reading, take a moment and adjust yourself. Get into a better posture. Maybe you need to go to another room or to an entirely different location. How about putting off the reading until your mind is more alert?